Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Mercedes and this is the Frugal Life with Mercedes. Today we are going to talk about assuming somebody's financial situation. I know I've done it and I know you guys have done it too, whether we like to admit it or not. But how many of us have sat back and saw somebody that had a really fancy car or a really nice house or goes on vacation all the time or maybe dresses in designer clothes, and we assume that they must be doing really well. And in the same token, how many of us have seen somebody maybe drive a hoopty, a not very nice car, kind of run down, maybe their house is really small, like, you know, I'm not referring to like it being like run down or anything, just a small, modest house. They don't really go on vacation, they're not flashy, and you might assume that they aren't doing very well. But if you guys watched my people are faking it video, people are faking being rich, people are faking being affluent, this kind of ties into that. We have to stop assuming what somebody's financial situation is based off what they look like, what they drive, where they live, what they're wearing, where they go on vacation, or how many times they go on vacation. I have said before, I do know several people that are doing pretty well, and you would not guess it by looking at them. Now, they don't look like run down. They're, clean and well kept, but they're not wearing designer clothes. They're not wearing, they're not driving a super fancy car. They're not covered in jewelry. Their nails aren't done. Their hair is not done at a designer, by a designer hairstylist. They might go on vacation, but it's a pretty modest one. And I've also met people that are quite the opposite, very flashy and big houses, big cars, just like dressed to the nines in designer clothes, and they're not doing so well. So we have to stop assuming. Also, what somebody's job is does not determine whether they are financially sound. I have said this in many videos and I will say it again. It doesn't matter how much you make if you do not have financial literacy. Anybody can mismanage money. So if somebody is not good at managing a couple $100s or a few $1,000s, what makes you think that if they make, let's say, $100,000 a year, that they are able to manage that? That doesn't mean that they can. Just like there are people that make a very small income and they are able to manage it. They live within their means. They're able to put money away. And so I cannot tell you how many times I've had people say like, oh, well, they do such and such for work, so they've got to be doing good. Well, there's many factors. They could have a gambling problem. They could have a shopping addiction. They could have some sort of drug or alcohol problem. They could have some trauma from childhood that, maybe they really went without, so now they're really like going, all out on everything. And, also student loans, guys. You guys forget that sometimes these people with these really high power jobs or these big titles, they have to get some sort of degree for it, and they don't just hand those out for free. They're very expensive. So I know people that make good money but have a ton of student loan debt, and they're just paying the minimum, and they're going to be in student loan debt forever unless they take charge of it. So we cannot assume anything about people, really. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what their job is, it doesn't matter how much they make, it doesn't matter what they drive, where they live, how they dress, where they vacation. That doesn't mean that they are doing well. And that does not mean that they are doing bad. I know for a fact, if you do a little bit of research on some of the most wealthy people in the world, like truly wealthy people, they don't necessarily look wealthy. My favorite example is Mark Zuckerberg. I always say that him and his wife look like, I hate to say this, they kind of look a little homeless. Like if you see them like out and about. Now granted, they're driving really nice cars and they've got really nice houses, and I know that they've got money. But if you looked at them and you didn't know who they were, you might assume like, is he begging on the corner for spare change? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm being completely serious. But he obviously has a lot of money. And just like you guys will see on social media, people that are kind of like D-list celebrities, like, what is it, like, I can't think of the word right now. Like, reality TV stars, and like Real Housewives of wherever, and Jersey Shore, Bama, whoever. And they did have access to money, but then it's like they didn't pay taxes, and they're like in trouble with the federal government, and their homes are being repossessed and their cars. But if you look at them, they look like they got money. So, and those are just celebrity examples, because I can't give examples of real life people. Not that those aren't real life people, but you know what I mean. So we can't make assumptions. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, we shouldn't. We should not make assumptions about people. In general, we should not be making assumptions about people. And I'm speaking to myself too, because I have made assumptions about people. And it's not really our business. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody wants to live in a tiny little house, wearing clothes from the thrift store, driving a almost undrivable little clunker, and stacking their money away for a rainy day, it's not my business. And the same token, if somebody wants to buy a really huge house and really big cars and go on vacations and wear designer clothes, and they're up to their eyeballs in debt, and the IRS is knocking on their door, I'm sorry, that's not my business either. How we each decide to spend our lives and spend our money and manage our money is our own personal business. So what is the point of all this? We shouldn't make assumptions, and you never know how somebody is actually doing unless you have access to their bank account. And we need to stay in our lane. I'm going to do a video about that as well. But we have to focus on us. We have to focus on our financial literacy and where our money is going and what our priorities are, and not make assumptions about what other people are doing. Because we have a tendency to get so focused on what other people are doing that it's to distract ourselves from real issues in our lives. And it's a coping mechanism, and you can learn about it in therapy. Like, there are people that will deliberately get involved in stuff that's not their business so that they can distract themselves from the things in their real life that need to be handled. And that's like a psychological problem, but I can make a video about that some other time. But don't get caught up in making assumptions about people, and focus on you. Try to become as financially literate and knowledgeable as possible. Get your budget under control. Figure out what your priorities are. Everybody needs to have more in savings. Everybody needs to have more in 401k. Everybody needs to have more in a rainy day fund. Everybody needs to be getting out of debt. And until you are those things, then we got to stop making assumptions about people. Okay? So I thought that you guys might get something out of that. Make sure your backyard is clean before you dig in other people's backyards, okay? So I hope that you guys got something out of that, or I at least made you guys laugh. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel. If you did not know, I have an Instagram, The Frugal Life with Mercedes. Until next time, guys, bye.